Good evening to everyone. Thank you once again for joining our monthly residents meeting. So for this time, we have not received any questions for people to interact. So this is how the program is going to go. We'll start with only one presentation from Farm Service, after which you can ask questions related to Farm Service. And then the floor will be open to any types of question that you have in mind. So feel free today, it's going to be an open free session. So you can already start preparing a question, whatever you have in your mind. So let us start with the first presentation from Farm Service. Thank you.
So Auroville was founded with the idea of a more sustainable and conscious living. And of course, agriculture is very much part of that ideal. Yeah, I already forgot what I have to say. So, and yeah, okay, so I'm not gonna go into the sizes of, we have the green belt, 2,780, doesn't matter, I'll go later, I will touch this later. Over the years, the farms of Auroville have been accumulating knowledge and experience, and they have been building farms. And when I say farms, I want to make clear that a piece of land is not a farm, it's just a piece of land. It becomes a farm when somebody builds an infrastructure on it. An infrastructure means a fence, a gate, a borewell, a cow shed if you have cows, and the watering system, the irrigation system, the greenhouse, and so, I mean, there are so many things according to what you want to do with your farm. And so the farmers have been doing that. They've been building farms with budget, I don't know where they got the money from, but I don't think they were given the money to build the farms. So they spent their time and their energy, and they have accumulated knowledge. And we have to give it credit to them because, you know, the job is outstanding. At the same time, the food that we consume today is much more than what we produce in our farms. So this raises a question, and the question is, can Auroville feed itself? Yeah. Perhaps not entirely, but perhaps we could produce a little bit more of what we consume, and we can try to be more independent from the external market, and this will also strengthen the Auroville economy. So it's very important to work towards food security. It's not just a matter of farming, it's a matter of resilience, it's a matter of strengthening our economy and being independent, because the outside market has always got some challenges with the world economy, with the prices of petrol going up and the transport disruption. There are so many things that affect the food chain outside Auroville, and that affect us. We are not immune from these difficulties. So it's important to understand that we are also here to be an example to the world on how we prepare for difficulties and how we go through difficulties and still look after ourselves, the residents. Anyway, so let's look at what we have already. We have, well, existing farms with the infrastructure, and we have also land for future farms. And then we have experienced farmers and distribution systems, PDDC, FoodLink, and then also we have the residents, all of us, that are residents that care about a sustainable system and healthy food. So we care about that, we hope so. We also have a green belt that was created not only as a green buffer, that's very important that we understand that, but it was also created as a productive landscape. So we have the basics of a food system, but then when we look at the food we have in the shops, we can see clearly that most of it comes from outside. And this is not a criticism. We have to understand we are not here to blame and criticize, but it does highlight the gap that we have between the agriculture potential and the actual production of food. Why does this matter? It matters because the food security, as I was saying just a minute earlier, is not just about food. It's not just about farming. It's about resilience. It's about being independent from the outside markets. And it's about strengthening our economy. It's very, very important. It will affect many other things in our community. Yeah, so I said already that outside the outside system, also we don't know where that food is coming from, how it is grown, and how it affects our health. If we can produce our own food, then we know that we are eating better food, which will affect our immune system and everything. So, as our population grows, as Auroville develops, and Auroville is developing, and the population will grow, then the food needs will also grow. The demand for food will also increase, obviously. So if we are not prepared today, if we don't start preparing now, one day we will be in serious problems. We will be even more dependent on the outside markets. And food security is not built overnight. It takes a lot of planning, long-term planning, and it takes a lot of commitment. So full self-sufficiency might be a little bit ambitious, but at least we could increase the local production, which will reduce the dependence on the outside markets and which will strengthen Auroville economy. I said this already, okay. Now, we have to look beyond the individual farms. Our farms, Auroville farms, one of the characteristics of it is that they're all they're all different, they're all unique. They have developed in their own way, each one, which is part of our strength in a way. At the same time, we need to build up a coordination that brings all the farms together for a system, for a food chain system that works as one, basically. Okay, so a larger food system, yes. Now, supporting those who work the land. Any discussion about food security must include and must actually begin with the people that work on the land. That's paramount. And we cannot just demand the farmers to produce more food, just produce more. We also have to see their challenges and help them. So farmers face real challenges, like wildlife. You must be aware of, you must have heard about the invasions of deers and wild pigs. You heard this, yes? You know. And then, of course, we have labor shortage. Many workers, they prefer to go in factories rather than working in the farm. So it's very hard now to find labor. And labor means people who know how to work the land. Because volunteers, you have to train them first, and then they go anyway. So you need labor. Then we have climate pressures, of course, we have the cyclones, then we have the heat waves. And all in all, we have the financial limitations. That's a reality. There is very little money, if any, poured into the agriculture sector of Auroville. And this is not a very good thing. If Auroville wants a stronger food system, it must provide a stronger support for the farmers. It's obvious. You want a stronger system, you need stronger farms, so the farms need stronger support. Yeah, so now let's move on to research and education and innovation. Agriculture is not just about producing food. I mean, that's the main thing, but there is also education and research. And yeah, so the farms as a whole, but even each individual farm is also a place for learning and experimentations and a continuous improvement in farming techniques and practices. So looking ahead, Farm Service would like to develop stronger links with agriculture universities, research institutes, and farming organizations in India and abroad. Such collaboration could create opportunities for knowledge exchange. So people would come here and teach us, and people can come here and learn from us. And field studies, joint research projects, and access to new technique adapted to local conditions. Auroville has always been a place for experimentation. We know that. Auroville in general. And agriculture should be one of the fields where this experimentation can actively, be alive, can actively be cultivated. Yeah, I'm using agriculture terms. Next, the role of farm service. So what is farm service? Farm service is the administration of the farms of Auroville. It used to be farm group before, it's called farm service now, it's the same thing. And we would like, it was created, the farm service was created to support and coordinate agriculture within Auroville. And so if we prepare for the food security of the future, then our responsibilities, as a farm service, will also need to evolve. We need to work harder, basically. And so there are so many responsibilities that we have now, but this will increase. And I'm talking about farm mapping and data. And you see, obviously, if you want to plan the food system, you need the numbers. You need to know what you have, what you produce. You need to know the figures. And yeah, we need to have the control of the farmer support, how we can support the farmers. We can't expect some other unit approvals. We have to be able to approve our own farmers. And so on. There is a big list of things that we need to do as a farm service. But anyway, I'm going to move on because we have very little time. And so basically what we need to do as the farm sector grows, and it should grow, farm service also should reach an operational independence and a clear mandate. When I say operational independence, I mean, I'll tell you in a minute, just in a minute. It's very, very important. Agriculture is a specialist field. So certain decisions, many decisions of farming require an understanding of the day-to-day work of farming. And there is a big list here that I wrote down, but I'm not going to bore you with all these things. It includes the farm assets, the housing on the farms. It's a long list. Let's move on. And also the relation with the distributions such as PVC and solar kitchen, HERS, and so on. This is very important. It might sound just futile, but it's very, very important. Now, the FMC plays an important role in the management of Auroville as a whole. And they have a lot of responsibilities and they are capable people. At the same time, agriculture is a specific field. And we need to be in charge of our own job, basically. What? Yeah, okay. For this reason, I want to draw your attention to the fact that farm service will be more productive if granted autonomy in agriculture matters, so that decisions affecting farms and the food are made by those who work closely with agriculture and understand its practical realities. This would allow farm service to take greater responsibilities for the development of the farms of Auroville and the food supply chain. And while FMC can focus on a broader role. Moving on, the green belt and the future. So when we talk about the green belt, we usually tend to think of an eco-village. We focus on the ecology, on the green buffer. But you might be surprised to hear that the green belt has also an important role to play in the future of Auroville food security. What I'm saying is basically that the green belt is not just a green buffer, but it's also a productive landscape. We need to use it to produce food in the green belt. So, as the community grows, we need a clear understanding of future food needs, agriculture capacity, water resources, soil condition, and the potential areas for agriculture expansion. I'm just repeating in better words what I just said a second ago. So good planning today can prevent many problems in the future. The green belt is not only something to protect, it's also a resource that can help strengthen Auroville sustainability and resilience. Collective responsibility. Food security is not just a matter of in the hands of the farmers, it's a responsibility for everybody. The kitchens, the distributors, the planners, the volunteers, all of us. So Auroville has already got quite a lot to move into a food chain for the future. And we don't need to start from scratch. We just work from what we have and we improve it. But we do need a better understanding of what already exists and how we can strengthen the coordination between the farms and amongst the food chain sector, PDDC and Solar Kitchen and so on, and how to support the farmer more effectively. That's very important. The farmers do need support. And that's how we can plan for the future. So a great deal of work has already been accomplished in the past 50 years, even if the production is not much, but it was quite a lot of work. And the question now is, what do we want to do for the next 50 years? What do we want the next 50 years to look like? Can we prepare for the next 50 years? We're going to be much more people than we are now. And as the population increases, the food demand will also increase. So we should start focusing on this issue now. Can Auroville feed itself? Perhaps not entirely, but with careful planning, stronger collaboration, and support for agriculture, maybe, just maybe, we will be able to feed ourselves more than we do today. This is a conversation that Auroville should start, conversation that Auroville should begin having now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Gino. So, okay, we have two questions already, but this is only related to farm service, right? So we have about a few questions and then we can go to the open sessions. And specifically, I'm requesting only for questions, Paulette. Please don't make long statements or...
Yeah, purely on farms.
Okay.
So on the way to Iranbai Temple, between Kotakare and Iranbai, there is this tar road, where now they cut all the coconuts. And on the left side, there is a lot of unused land, many, many acres, belonging to Auroville. For many, many years, there's no agriculture happening at all. What is going on?
I'm not sure which bit you're talking about exactly. Maybe, I don't know if you're talking about this piece that passed Hebert land, opposite, just after the curve. Yes, so this is under dispute. There is some, I don't know, some politician claiming that that's part of that land is his. Yeah, this is in the hands of Land Board, Land Service and ATDC and FMC. Next question.
Yeah, we have to distinguish whether you talk on farm or farms in Auroville. If it is farms in Auroville, the mother never wanted paid workers, servants, and if you read the chronicle of the old Aurovillians, whether it was farming or water catchment, greenbelt, everything, they work. Vijay passed away, fertile windmill, worked 12 hours a day. Another one, I don't know the name because I could never meet him. I was friend of the wife. She was Angela, and he was an American. They lived in Kotakarai. He was also working 12 hours a day. So there was no difference in mother concept of farming than in Israeli kibbutz. So as in Israel, the kibbutz work that way, I don't see why it doesn't happen in Auroville as it used to happen.
Okay. Can I answer that question? So, you see, if you get, somebody gives you a restaurant to run, they say, this is a restaurant. And then, so you're in charge of the restaurant. They can't expect you to do the cooking and the cleaning and washing the dishes and cleaning the floor and, you know, the whole, and the bills and everything. As the manager or the owner or whatever, you will have, there is a hierarchy, you have a team, and you have the head waiter that takes care of the waiters, and then you have the waiters, the commis waiters. And then you have the people in the kitchen that cook the food, and then you have, and also there is a hierarchy, and then you have the people who clean the floor and people who wash the dishes. You can't do everything on your own. That's not how you run a restaurant. It's impossible. No, but she's saying basically that we should be the workers of the, at the moment, we don't, at the moment this is how they run. At the moment, this is how we run. Okay, one day we will have Aurovillians working as, you know, on the with the MAMPT and doing the physical work. At the moment, what we have is a manager that is already running up and down to run the farm, and then you have different workers. You have the milkman that does the milk tasks, and one day you might find an Aurovillian that does the milking. At the moment, we don't have. Okay. Yes, very romantic view, but we have to look at practicality.
Hello.
Yes. Next.
I have 2-3 questions.
Yeah, you can start with
Thank
one.
you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Obviously, Mother wanted that we become independent. But we have to also take into account the climate, whether we can 100% use food for being independent from the markets outside. And it would have been nice, what have we produced so far in the last 50 years and on how many acres of land, and how much was sold outside and how much was sold inside Auroville. Aurovillians as a market. So what bothers me a lot is a lot of productions happening in Auroville, a lot of businesses, including farms. They all depend on Aurovillians who will buy these things. So you think, or you treat Auroville as a market with a maintenance of 20,000 that you will be able to buy all this agricultural food that you will produce, will of course depend on the outside markets, depending on what you grow. And then in the tropical climate, you can only grow certain things. We are getting things from other states of India for Auroville, as far as I understand. I may be wrong. Thank you.
So there are different strategies, let's call them, to increase the food production. And each of them, none of them excludes the other. We need to apply all of them parallel. So we have to understand that many items that we buy today, they simply cannot grow here, like onions, cauliflower, broccoli, zucchini, there's a long list. Cabbages, they just don't grow here. So what do we do? So there are different approaches. One approach is that we can start growing what grows here, which is already disappearing, but then the consumers won't eat them, they won't consume them. So if they don't buy, the farmer will not grow them. If the farmer doesn't grow, then this species will disappear. So what I propose is that we grow them anyway, and we keep them, and we keep the seeds, and we keep propagating them until the day that we might need them, because we will be so desperate that we don't have any other food and we eat this. So that's one way. No, that's one thing. That's one option, and we should do it anyway. We should keep the native species anyway, whether we sell it or not.
Oh,
and then we can try different ways, alternative ways of agriculture. For example, hydroponic, aquaponics. There are so many to try to grow what doesn't naturally grow here. But to do this, we need some investment. So one doesn't exclude the other. The other option is to grow what we grow here in excess. Like, for example, we have a lot of mangoes, a lot of papayas, lots of lemons, and many other things, which we don't consume enough. There are farms like or orchard that they have lots of mangoes that they cannot sell, because how many mangoes can we eat? So what we can do is to process this produce into jams, dried fruits, whatever we can, and sell it outside of Auroville. And with this money, we buy the food that we need. But one approach doesn't have necessarily to exclude the other. We do one, but we also try to grow the native variety. We still try to grow what doesn't grow here with alternative ways. We have to try anything possible. We shouldn't exclude anything. Next question.
Okay. My question is about the potential that we have here in Auroville for growing our own food. I don't really know, but how much land is needed to support a given population? Like we today have, if we were to support 10,000 people here in Auroville, how much land would we need under different kind of systems of agriculture? And what is the potentiality of the existing resources that we have? Has there been any study on that?
There is no specific study on that, because actually the modern agriculture techniques, they talk about, I forgot the term, but it's about growing as much as possible in a small area. So to try to produce as much as possible what you can in a very limited area. For example, urban farming is one example. It's not a very good example, but it's the best example I have. But there are ways that they are being experimented to grow a lot in a small space. And in urban farming, it means that where we live, we grow food on our terraces, on the wall, in our gardens. It will not solve the problem, but it will help. And anyway, we have at the moment 2,000, let's see if I remember the number, 2,783 or 85 acres of land available between the Greenbelt in general. And farms, at the moment, we have only 20 farms active. There might be others, but they're not registered. And we have 375, I think it is, of farmland under the Farm Service. So at the moment, we have done a lot. You have to consider that these guys came a long time ago when everything was dry, and they put their own effort, money, and they did what they could, and they built their infrastructure. It's quite an achievement. So now we have to see what we can do for the future. Now, I'm not saying I have all the solutions, but if we start thinking about it now, we might get somewhere.
My name is Ram Narayan. Thank you for the presentation, bringing so much of transparency and clarity. And you say that we are depending from on outside to sustain ourselves, but at the same time, there are some examples. Some producers we are unable to consume. Okay, and we are like mangoes or orchard that you said. It will be like this with something or the other. But at the same time, we are in the luxury of land available with us to make it into farmland. And just it is because if anything that is not used and to convert it into a really productive, fertile farmland, a lot of investments are needed. And if anybody wants to create a farm or start something, they have to be prepared to invest so much, and which pioneers ahead did to some extent. But now maybe we have a possibility of getting help from outside sources. Maybe we have a powerful secretary who could also ask for the government. I don't know, it is just a speculation. And if we could prepare projects where so much of investment is needed for a particular land to convert it into a fertile land, and so that we could give to a group of people, those who could cultivate, that will be a good idea in my view. If some projects like this could be presented, I think resources will be available and we will convert many available land into farmlands.
Yes. Very beautiful. I just want to give a bit of a taste of reality. We have the Farm Service and FMC receives many requests of land for people who are interested in taking a piece of land and doing farming. And what we see is very beautiful projects. What we have seen, I'm talking out of experience. And then once they get the land, they build their house there, they build a guest house, they do everything else but farming. So, in a way, it's better to have a piece of land there still not being used than to allocate it quickly because it has to be used and then it's misused. So because once you build a house there, you're spoiled, the area is reduced, it's less. So we have to be very careful who we allocate land to, and then we have to follow up. So it's not so easy. Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes, yes. It's just not an easy task. Allocating land is not an easy task. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I just give you an example. Somebody came. Okay, doesn't matter. Next question. Any other question? Please. We have. Okay, sorry.
I have two specific questions.
Microphone.
Whether
Can you speak on?
two specific questions on whether some farm surface would like to work on it or it's working on it. Number one, it's already said many times that the productivity of our farms is very low. So, do the Farm Service has any plans or any plan, or let's say action plan to increase the productivity? That is number one. And number two, we also have this seasonal overabundance of production. So one way could be to have a cold storage. So whether Farm Service would also like to work on that project.
So let me answer first number two, and then I answer the first question. So when we go into storage, we also go into food processing. So then we're gonna build a sub-unit of the Farm Service. Somebody that works, a group that works for Farm Service, but doing a specific job, like the food processing, and then the marketing of the food processing. It's going to be, it's not easy. It's a lot of work, but it needs to be done. Now, in order to even try any planning, the planning is already difficult, but to try to apply anything, before we can do anything, before we venture into anything, I said it, I don't know how many of you have paid attention. I said it a little fast, perhaps. Farm service needs is paramount to obtain autonomy of decisions making regarding farming matters and the food chain system. We cannot continuously ask for permission to the FMC or other bodies. We have to be in charge of our planning and our challenges and finding our own solutions. The farming sector is just as important as the working committee, the ATDC, and the FMC. It's not a small area, the farms. It's very, very important. I want to stress this out. If we don't prepare now, we are going to be in deep trouble in the future. The population is growing. We cannot produce enough food now. Can you imagine the future when we're going to be not even 50,000? Let's say 10,000. We're going to be in deep trouble. So we have to start working now. And every time we need to do something, we have to ask permission to the FMC, and nothing moves. When the decisions that affect the farm service are taken by the FMC and they are the wrong decisions, what can we do? So I don't want to make accusations and stuff, but we are not going anywhere because of this. We need to obtain operational independence in order to do anything productive. That's the number one question. And I answered the number two first, and then now this is the number one. Before we can do anything, we need to obtain
Yes, of course.
So whatever solution I find, we come up with, we will not be able to apply it because we have to ask permission to somebody who has no understanding of farming. We need to be in charge of our decisions.
See, Gino, I'm not sure what you mean by operational independence in total. Can farm service work in silos? I heard you. Sorry?
Can farm service work in?
Work in silos. Can it just exist as an independent body by itself within the administration of Auroville doing its own thing?
Yeah.
No, it can't.
Yes.
I heard you say that it's as important as working committee or ATDC or FAMC. Fair enough. We all understand how important farms are and how important food is. We all understand that. It's very close to us. But what makes you think that ATDC is functioning with some kind of organizational autonomy or independence? We have a whole structure and hierarchy to respect. When we have to put up a project proposal, we have to put up the project proposal for approval.
Okay.
And we make sure that it goes all the way. That's where the role of the ATDC members come in, that we handhold the file until it goes and it gets approved by the competent authority.
Okay.
Now in the last, I'll just finish and then you can answer me in one go. In the last 5 years, I have seen in 2021, the governing board gave a very long list of points in which farms was one of the biggest sectors addressed, if you remember what I'm talking about. They said it needs this, it needs this, it needs this, okay? I haven't seen any proposal from farm service which has effectively gone into any of the subsequent governing board meeting minutes. I haven't seen a single proposal that has been presented before the governing board. So where has been the farm service to say, okay, this is our analysis, this is the study, this is the way forward, and we need this much infrastructure, this much money, permission from ATDC, signature from that authority. Where is that paper? So if you say that there has been something that has not been approved, show us the something, okay, as being part of the administration. Now we'll help the farm service get the necessary approvals. But have you put all these things in place first? Have you made your proposals?
So, okay, I didn't want to get into this, but since we are here, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to put it publicly. It's not that the projects were not approved. They were totally ignored. We wrote, I don't know, every year they ask us to make a plan, and we give a plan, and it's like, you know, you didn't present any plan. And we could even present the same plan, and they won't read it anyway. Now, I give you a specific example of why things are not moving. Farm Service, once was called Farm Group, created Food Link. Why was Food Link created by the Farm Group? It was created to take care of the coordination between the farms of what they're going to produce, so that they don't produce all the same item at once, and the demand of the distributors like PTDC, HERS and so on, Solar Kitchen. So Food Link job was to see what the farms could grow, and then say, okay, don't all grow the same thing. We need this, this, and this. You are going to do that. You're going to do this. Okay. And work also with Solar Kitchen and PDDC. What do you need? Can you take this much, and so on. So this was a sub-unit of, or sub-service, as you want to call it, of Farm Service, Farm Group, Farm Service. Okay. And it was under us. We created it. Now, suddenly, it was taken away from us. Say, no, this is independent. It has nothing to do with food, farm service. And the job that they're doing is very far from the goal that we gave, the reason why they exist. Huh? The intent. So what they became a shop. Food Link today is a shop that overcharges the customers, yes, and doesn't help the farmers. It keeps rejecting items, and PTDC is very unhappy. Solar Kitchen is very unhappy. They prefer if the farmers go directly to them. It's a mess. Now the executives of Food Link are changing also. They're putting people that we don't trust. It's a total mess. And now they also, Food Link is saying, Farm Service has to arrange the forecast and the coordination. Hello, excuse me, I created you for that job, and now I have to create a new Food Link. It doesn't make sense. Who took this decision? It didn't come from Farm Service. I don't want to say names, but it was not taken, it was not done by us. Somebody who has no clue about food production and the food system, is putting their hands, have their own plans, which make absolutely no sense, and they are taking, and we depend on them, and we have to be quiet and just listen to them. Food Link today, we never had a Food Link worse than it is today. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional about this, but it's a reality. Okay.
Okay, just one last question, then we'll go to the next one.
No, I mean, this question might be redundant, only I'm not aware. The first one is, do we have a comparison between the ashram farms, their size and their production, and our farms? I always wonder that, because they are in the same climate, same situation, and they seem to really be producing a large part of what ashram needs. So what is the size with the production capacity? That's something I would like to understand. Secondly, when you talk about the mango trees and all that, planting trees has always been easier than farming. And all of our farms always had a big part. And of course, it takes time before the fruits comes, etc. Our population has been growing very, very slowly. Our population is supposed to move much faster now. So what is the calculation with what we have, with the fruits, what will actually be able to be absorbed by a larger population? That's one thing. Then I have one, you don't even need to answer it now, but I just would like that the information is available somehow. With Auroville, you said something 2,000 acres or in the green belt that we have. I assume that is what we are kind of belonging to Auroville right now. How many of these acres are under tree plantation? How many of them are under farming, and how
many of them are simply lying fallow, because then we need to really plant what we do. Can we plant more trees if we want to have the food security? And where can we plant them if we plant, etc.? And with the farms, what is the ratio of farming and tree farming, which is much more less work, you know? So these are kind of questions I would like to see that. And I feel that this last time period, when there's been all the issues about the farming and the farms, which will have to shift, we talk about percentage and percentage. It gives no real knowledge at all. It just creates a hype. How much is the total? How much is the total being used? And how much is this percentage which we put up with 30%? That sounds like a lot. Is it really so much when we see what is in the shop? There is very little compared to it. It's not even a fifth, a sixth, an eighth what is being sold here. Thank you.
I lost all the questions. Okay, but I give you one, let's see if I can answer this question. Some times ago, it's already almost a year ago, I started a process, the process of registering lands that are being farmed in Auroville, in the green belt, but they're not registered as farms. So they produce fruits and vegetables. We don't know where these fruits and vegetables goes, but these farms do exist in Auroville. So I wanted to register them so that their produce comes to Food Link, you know. Guess who stopped me from doing this process? Guess how many of all the farms that I identified by myself without even, you know, trying too hard. I had many farms, but I know there are more. Guess how many I managed to register? One. And this one was this guy that wanted to register because he wanted to be part of the farm service. And even he couldn't believe it, that why his application was being rejected continuously. He had to go and beg to the FMC, please, I want to be part of the farm service. I have all the papers. You know, I've been farming for years in the green belt. I was part of the forest group, but I want to be part of the farm service. I will bring the produce to Food Link, please. You know, I will. Only he managed after begging. All the others, I can show you the emails. They're saying, no, they need the inventory. One comma is missing. Come back with another. Oh no, exclamation point is missing. I haven't managed to register any farm, only one. Does this answer your questions? No. We cannot progress if we continue in this way. We cannot do the mapping, we cannot do we cannot have the figures for planning. We can't do anything. We need to change the system. We cannot be under some group of people that are not interested in developing Auroville. Yes, we can register the 20 farms that we have already, but this will not solve any issue. No, but somebody wanted to know how many fruit trees we have, how many can we plant, and so on. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying not to say too much because otherwise, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, they can. So he can.
One more question.
You can prepare.
I'm gonna get in trouble after this. I tell you. But I'm telling you the truth. We cannot progress because we are under another. You know, we are a subgroup of something that doesn't let us evolve.
Okay. Thank you. Gino?
Yes. You want to ask one question?
That's it. No more questions. You can give this to Seva. Yeah. I can give it. So now the floor is open. Thank you, Gino. So you can feel free to ask any question, not any question that you have in mind. So feel free. You can just raise your hands, and each person can ask only one question, no sub-question divisions or statements or anything further. Just a question, simple. Thank you. Please raise your hands. Depending. One person, one time. Yeah, depends. Where is Lakshay? Lakshay. Okay.
So it's open question, right? My question is about the meeting we had, and I'm still waiting for the follow-up on it. Like, will we have like that kind of open meeting again with working group? Yeah, where like we can discuss about the progress and business plans.
So we used to have the youths meeting where the session was open, people can come share their concern, how they would like to contribute to Auroville. So we had the first session, so that is what he's talking about. And we need a little more, the first part went well, where we got the datas of people where they wanted to work, what they wanted to do. But certain things involved the FAMC also. But FAMC is also progressively working together. Maybe in a few months' time, we can put everything in order, and automatically FAMC and working together can establish all the requirements that you were talking about. Thank you. Next question, please.
I have more suggestion than a question. Concerning the farming and the greenbelt, I would like to know, there was an experimental farm, it was called New Farm, yeah, that was Jyoti Prasad started. And when we went to look, the second and the third year, like there was a big piece of forest, mainly work trees. They were cut, and people would get a small piece of land where they had to prove that they could do farming. And then if they would do well, then they would get maybe allocated to farm, but they had to prove themselves first that they had to do farming. It was very interesting that the first year after cutting all the trees, the soil was very fertile, and it was giving a very good return. The second and the third year and the fourth year, it was basically nothing anymore, even by putting compost. So it will be very interesting to integrate also the experiments that we did on farming in the Greenbelt, and what was working and what is not working. Because we know also, and I think there will be, I think it's very interesting to have also food production in the Greenbelt, but it has to also be notified what worked and what didn't work. I know, for instance, the Evergreen, Auroville, there is a big problem with the water, and the water is under a different schedule of payments, and it is very expensive to take out the water. So it's not only like can we just take out a big piece of forest and make a farm. It's also what is the quality of the earth. Yeah. Is it very, very hard? I know that in our dam it's like concrete after 5 centimeter near the dam. Is there enough water? What can they grow and what cannot grow? And just taking out the trees is not going to solve it. It is very interesting to have food production also with trees, but we cannot live on cashew and mangoes alone for the whole year. But we can, if we could actually sell stuff and buy what we need, like milk we have an overproduction now, eggs we have an overproduction. It's good also to have a possibility to sell stuff that could even, like you can raise chickens under the trees and you can have cows under the trees. I think it could be a very creative idea, but we have to also integrate the failures that we already know and the difficulties that we know. Which land is good for rice? Are we having actually enough land for rice? We're eating rice every day. So it will be interesting, and I hope that it goes into that direction.
I'm not sure I understood the question. What is the question?
It was a suggestion, so I think. So any more questions? Please raise your hands. Right.
Yes, so that farm, I think we're talking about Unity Farm? Yes. Unity Farm. So it was taken by one of them is still a member of the farm service, I think. It's not clear if one of them is still in or not. Anyway, these two members started having disagreements between themselves.
So unity basically.
Huh?
So no unity basically.
No unity, yes, yes. And so they made basically a mess of the land. It was totally neglected, and the land is still there. And now there are talks about giving it to the Buddha Garden, because Buddha Garden, some part of Buddha Garden has to go because of a parking or a road or something. All of it. Because? Yes, because it's part of some development that it has to be taken place. So Buddha Garden will shift to this now Unity Farm, which was a disaster under these two people, and now it's going to go to Buddha Garden. Yes. It's a pity because it was actually doing very well. You see, this is a good example of Auroville. The farm was doing very well, and just because of some ego disagreement, yeah, so we have to be very careful, because really, sometimes it looks to me like we are our biggest enemy in Auroville. If we get along with each other, we can do much more. We can benefit, all of us. So, huh? Yeah, people will contribute in their own way.
Thank you. So, just to reiterate, you can ask the question related to any working group, not just the farm. Any working group question, related thing you can ask.
Yeah, very small question, only one sentence, is that when is our 1,000-bedded project coming?
We presented New Birth a few times. It's still in the making because there's no money for it. We have applied for CSR grants to start the first phase. And some large-scale companies have said that in August they will open up their new CSR, how do you say that, their next bit of CSR grants. So we have sent the brochure everywhere, and we are trying to get big funding so that we can start at least 1 or 2 blocks at the same time. Simultaneously, Uma has recently, where is Uma? Uma left. She just told me that she would like to come and help manifest this project. So we actually are in need of hands for people to come and hold the project and bring it to, make it a reality. Because there are people who have signed up also who said we have money to put in. So all that has to be catalogued, who has money, which block can start first, that whole math has to be done. We have done the base work at ATDC. The project is good to start, but we need somebody to come and handhold a bit. So, money was the first thing I said. Yeah.
So, how many of you are aware that a major difference between the ashram and Auroville is that the mother accepted servant and paid workers for the ashram, saying that the people are too lazy, but she didn't accept at all for Auroville. So Auroville was founded that way. The mother even made clear that a technician could be accepted for 1 year until an Aurovillian was ready to pick up the same job. And she was talking about technicians. So are we ready to come back to the original setup of Auroville, doing the work ourselves? Not just in the field, in the forest, in construction, everywhere.
I would like to add something to that, Paulette. Mother also was very clear that the villagers would get work from Auroville. And there is a difference on being a worker and being a servant. You can do work, it's you are employed for a work, but servant, that is somebody who does your stuff which you actually should be doing yourself in your home and these kind of things, going errands for you. And I think that we have a commitment to actually create employment for the villagers. And it's also for me, one reason why it is so enormously important that we build the city, because the children of the villages today are highly educated. And we employ them as shop girls, etc., when they have their engineering exams and like that. We need to build a city. They are no more working as amas and servants, as you say. They actually are there for work and for jobs. And it is Auroville's, one of our responsibilities is actually to provide that. That's the commitment Mother did with the local people.
It is often said that the ashram and Auroville are not the same. It's absolutely true. And this is exactly a major point, because Auroville is the ideal society, is not an ashram. At the ashram, people are mainly concentrated in doing the inner work. They also work, but they have servants. but this is not true for Auroville, because Auroville is the ideal society. And for what concerned the physical work, it was exactly like a kibbutz. Please, their publications, journals, books, ask the Auroville Press, go and see how the pioneers lived. Even myself, I joined in 1985. My neighbor was Herbert. So 85 was not 68. Herbert worked and worked and worked. And even now is in Siddhartha Pharma. So these people still exist. No, I'm sorry. Are we willing to go back to the real Auroville? This is the question.
So I believe there's no any questions. Due to some urgent matters, Madam couldn't join online. So we're going to close the meeting now. There'll be refreshment snacks available. Thank you very much for coming.